Would we dare be so niggardly and particular about your upkeep? If not, asked Pilgrim. Why are you crying, Venerable Father? Said another priest. We don't know what sort of perverse fiend has invaded this monastery of ours. 2 nights ago, 2 young priests were sent to toll the bell and beat the drum, but they never came back. When we searched for them in the morning, we found their caps and sandals abandoned in the rear garden. Their skeletons remained, but their flesh was eaten. You have all stayed in our monastery for 3 days, and we have lost 6 priests. That is why we brothers cannot help fretting and grieving. Since your venerable master is indisposed, however, we dare not make this known to you, though we can't refrain from shedding tears in secret." On hearing this, Pilgrim was both startled and delighted, saying, "No need to say any more. There must be a fiendish demon here causing harm to people. Let me exterminate it for you, Venerable Father," said a priest. "The monster, who is not a spirit, will not possess spiritual powers. But those who are will undoubtedly have the ability to soar on the cloud and fog and to penetrate and leave the region of darkness. The ancients have put the matter quite well. Don't believe the honesty of the honest. Be wary of the unkindness of the kind. Venerable Father, please forgive me for what I'm about to say. If you could catch this monster for us and rid our desolate temple of this root of calamity, it would indeed be our greatest fortune. But if you cannot catch him, there'll be quite a few inconveniences." "What do you mean by quite a few inconveniences?" asked Pilgrim. "To tell you the truth, Venerable Father," replied the priest, "though there are some 100 monks in our rustic temple, they all left their homes in childhood. They find knives to cut hair grown long. They patch often their unlined garments. Once they rise at dawn and wash their faces. They bow with pressed palms to embrace the great way. At night they take pains to burn incense, sincere and earnest, to chant Buddha's name, raising their heads to gaze at Buddha's form on the 9th grade lotus, the Triyana means, and the vessel of mercy afloat on the Dharma Mega. The world-honored Sakya of Jetavana they vow to see, lowering their heads to search their hearts, having received the 5 prohibitions, having transcended the world. Amid the myriad creatures and phenomena, the stubborn void and formless form they would perceive, when the Danapatis are present, the old and the young, the tall and the short, the fat and the thin. Each one will beat the wooden fish, and strike the golden stone, hustling and bustling, to chant 2 scrolls of the Lotus Sutra, or a book of the water litany of King Liang, when the Danapatis are absent, the new and the old, the unfamiliar and the familiar, the rustic and the urbane. Each one will press his palms together, and close his eyes, in silence and darkness, to meditate on the rush mat, and bolt the gate beneath the moon. We leave those orioles and birds to chatter and bicker by themselves. They don't belong in our convenient, merciful Mahayana. That is why we are not able to tame tigers, nor are we able to subdue dragons. We have no knowledge of fiends, nor can we recognize spirits. If you, Venerable Father, manage to annoy that fiendish demon, he may find 100 of us priests barely sufficient for 1 meal. Then we'll all fall upon the wheel of transmigration. Second, our Chan Grove and old temple will be destroyed. And third, at Tathagata's assembly, we'll not enjoy even half a mite of glory. These are some of those inconveniences." When Pilgrim heard the priest delivering a speech like that, anger flared up from his heart, and wrath sprouted by his bladder. "How stupid can you monks be?" he shouted. "All you know is about the monster spirit. Haven't you any idea of old monkey's exploits?" "In truth we do not," replied the priest softly. "I'll give you only a brief summary today," said Pilgrim. "Listen to me, all of you. I did tame tigers and subdue dragons on Mount Flower Fruit. I did ascend to Heaven's palace to cause great havoc. In hunger, I picked up Lord Lao's elixir and chewed up not many, just 2 or 3 pellets. In thirst, I took up the Jade Emperor's wine and drank so lightly 6 or 7 cups. When my gold pupil eyes, not black or white, flare wide open, the sky will pale and the moon darken. When I hold up one golden hooped rod, not too long or short, I'll come and go without a trace. Why mention big spirits or small fiends? Who's afraid of their hex or devilry? The moment when I give chase, the fleeing will flee, the shaking will shake, the hiding will hide, and the fearful will fear. The moment when I catch them, they will be sawed, they will be burned, they will be ground, and they will be pounded. Something like 8 immortals crossing the sea, each revealing magic ability. Monks and priests. I'll seize this monster spirit for you to see. Only then will you realize I'm Old Monkey. When those various monks heard this, they all nodded and said to themselves, there has to be some basis for this burglar Bonzi to open his big mouth and utter these big words. Each of them, therefore, responded to Pilgrim agreeably, but the Lama priest spoke up. Wait a moment. Since your master is indisposed, you shouldn't feel so eager to catch this monster spirit. As the proverb says, a prince at a banquet will either be drunk or fed. A hero on the field will either be hurt or dead. If the 2 of you engage in battle, you may well involve your master in some difficulty, and that's not too appropriate. Right you are, replied Pilgrim. Let me take some cold water to my master first, and then I'll return. Picking up the alms bowl and filling it with water, he left the incense kitchen and went directly back to the abbot's chamber. Master, he cried, drink some cold water. Racked by thirst, Tripitaka raised his head, held the water to his mouth, and took a mighty draught. Truly, in thirst, 1 drop of liquid's like sweet dew. The true cure arrives and the illness heals. When Pilgrim saw that the elder was gradually regaining his strength and that his features seemed to brighten, he asked, Master, can you take some rice soup? This cold water, replied Tripitaka, is so much like an efficacious elixir that at least half of my illness is gone. If there is any rice soup, I can eat some. At once Pilgrim shouted repeatedly, my master's well. He wants some soup and rice. His cries sent those monks scampering to wash the rice, cook it, make noodles, bake biscuits, steam breads, and make rice noodle soup. They brought in fact, 4 or 5 tables of food, but the Tang monk could take only half a bowl of rice soup. Pilgrim and Sha monk managed to finish 1 tableful, while the rest all went into 8 Rules's stomach. After they had cleared away the utensils and lighted the lamps, the monks retired. How many days have we stayed here? Asked Tripitaka. Pilgrim said, 3 whole days. By dusk tomorrow, it'll be the 4th day. How much have we fallen behind in our journey? Asked Tripitaka again. Master, said Pilgrim, you can't make that sort of calculation. Let's leave tomorrow. Exactly, said Tripitaka. Even if I'm still not quite well, I'd better get going. In that case, said Pilgrim, I'd better catch a monster spirit tonight. What sort of monster spirit do you want to catch this time? Asked Tripitaka, growing alarmed. There's a monster spirit in this monastery, said Pilgrim. Let Old Monkey catch it for them? Oh disciple, said the Tang monk, I'm not even recovered yet, and you want to start something like this already? Suppose that fiend has great magic powers and you can't catch it. Wouldn't you put me in jeopardy? You do love to put me down, said Pilgrim. As Old Monkey goes about subduing fiends everywhere, have you ever seen him an underdog? I may not move my hands, but the moment I do, I'll win. Tugging at him, Tripitaka said, Disciple, the proverb puts the matter well. Do someone a favor when you have that favor. Spare a person when you can afford to spare. Can restiveness compare with contentedness? Is tolerance nobler than belligerence? When the great sage Sun heard his master pleading so passionately with him, refusing to let him subdue a fiend, he had little choice but to tell the truth, saying, "Master, I don't want to hide this from you, but the fiend has devoured humans at this place." Horrified, the Tang monk asked, "What humans has the fiend devoured? We have stayed in this monastery for 3 days," replied Pilgrim. "And 6 young priests of the monastery have been devoured." The elder said, "When a hare dies, the fox grieves. For a creature will mourn its own kind. If a fiend has devoured the priests of this monastery, I, too, am a priest. I'll let you go, but you must be careful." "No need to tell me that," said Pilgrim. "Old Monkey will eliminate it the moment he raises his hands. Look at him." In the lamplight he gave instructions for 8 rules and Sha monk to guard their master, and then leapt out of the abbot's chamber jubilantly. When he reached the main Buddha hall to look around, he found that there were stars in the sky, though the moon had not yet risen. The hall was completely dark, so he exhaled some immortal fire from within himself to light the crystal chalice. Then he went to strike the bell on the east and toll the bell on the west. Thereafter, with one shake of his body, he changed into a young priest, no more than 12 or 13 years of age. Draped in a clerical robe of yellow silk and wearing a white cloth shirt, he chanted scriptures as his hand struck a wooden fish. He waited there in the hall till about the hour of the first watch, and nothing happened. By the hour of the second watch, when the waning moon had just risen, he heard all at once a loud roar of the wind. Marvelous wind! Its black fog blotted out the sky. Its somber clouds bedimmed the earth. All 4 quarters seemed splashed with ink, or coated with some indigo paint.